Good morning. My name is Phil Asgian, and I am a member of Westminster's Social Justice Ministry team. We build the forums, the social justice forums, around a common theme each program year. And our theme for this program year is diving deeper together so all will flourish. This theme builds on our heightened awareness of the systemic and critical issues affecting our community, brought to greater attention in recent years, especially by the murder of George Floyd. Through the forums, we will learn about longstanding needs and become more prepared to support the flourishing of all members of our community. Today, we welcome leaders from the Envision community, Freddy Toran, Shannon, Dr. Bill Walsh, and Project Manager Rochelle Washington. So welcome to all of you. We will learn more about um, uh, how Envision Community is meeting very critical needs uh, in Minneapolis. Um, Sorry, I forgot to do my introduction slide here earlier. All three leaders that I mentioned earlier um, have been working with the Envision community since the beginning of the project. Westminster recently selected the Envision community as one of two recipients of Extraordinary Times special gifts that Westminster made to the community. We selected Envision Community specifically because of their work addressing the root causes of health disparities. The leadership for the project has of people that have experienced homelessness and represent communities that we seek to accompany and support and help flourish. Um, so um, we look forward to continued support and working with the Envision community. And at this time, I'd like to hand it over to our team. Thank you.
Mm. Thank you for hosting us. My name is Freddy. I'm a part of Envision leadership, allowing us to share our work. Today, we are going to give a brief introduction to Envision, and then answer you may have some questions.
Um, my name is Sherry. First, I just want to say we want to thank your congregation for their generous donation to Envision Community. Your support means so much to us.
My name, we are Envision leader. Want to introduce ourselves? Next is, of course, is me. I'm Freddie. I'm Envision leader. I got involved with Envision because it was something that caught my interest. I think you may say the life experience of me being homeless and out on streets on drugs addiction. And I looked at vision as a way of helping others through the struggle like I have myself. So I've been sober for 11 years and willing to give back to my community for those people who have helped me. And I pass it on to Sherry.
I just want to give you a little background. I came homeless, and when I was homeless, it was very, very hard for me because I'm a single parent. I was raising my four boys and trying to hold a job. It was very challenging for me. And then without having a vehicle and trying to get on the bus, because at the time I was doing security, My shift was at 3 to 11. And when I was in the shelter, I could not leave my kids there, so I have to take them to a daycare. And then plus try to get to work on time, and then I have to be back at the shelter so I wouldn't lose my spot. So them was one of the main challenges that I have. But being homeless and being part of Envision means a really, really lot to me because it helped me reach my goals because I'm also have a disability. And because of that, by having a place called home, I had the opportunity to reach my goals that I set for me as far as going into the doctors, getting to see my mental health worker, getting be able to continue growing in the community as far as myself is going out and doing work in communities at different places like Street Voices and other outreach program that I'm part of. And I'm also just wanted to say that Envision means a whole lot to me because it's going to be affordable, and these are some of the challenges that I had being a single parent. And when by being an affordable, it's going to be to have me move in, and because at the time I didn't have no job that's going to be to pay 2 times the rent, and so this is going to be affordable to me. And then I'm out here speaking for other people that's homeless right now that doesn't have a voice, so I can, tell their story also. Thank you.
Thank you, Sherry. And I will also want to give a tribute to the ones that could not be here today. Janelle, Anderson, Dwayne, and Rome. Unfortunately, they're unable to attend with us at this time. But they are also Envision leaders as well. My name is Rochelle Washington, and I am with Task Unlimited in partnership with Envision. And my direct supervisor is Nicole English, and she's the Director of Social Services over at Task Unlimited. Do you want me to introduce you, Bill?
I'm Bill Walsh. I'm super sorry for the technical problem. It was working when we put it all, like 10 minutes ago, it was working. So, okay, thank you for your patience. I'm a supporter of Envision. I help them with research. We look at our long-term outcomes of Envision Community. I'm a researcher at the University of Minnesota. I'm also a surgeon at Hennepin Healthcare and the University of Minnesota. So I'm gonna pass it back to the team here, and then I'm gonna keep trying to get you guys images. I'm really, really sorry.
Thank you, Bill.
Okay.
Sherry?
Envision is a community, is a collaborative of 22 organizations working together to create new type of housing for Minneapolis so that all people, including people with very low income, have what they need to live their healthiest life. The Envision Community Collaborative include homeless advocate, housing provider, supportive service agency, health expert, education institution, faith community, and other group interested in making Envision a reality.
Building and diving deep so all can flourish is a great way of summing up Envision intentional communities. We are a BIPOC-led intentional community. We have all experienced homelessness. I was brought up in a neighborhood where if you missed your school bus, the neighbor would give you a ride to school. The neighbor, even if it was cold outside, you could wait on your neighbor's porch for the school bus. Our neighborhoods have changed. Time has changed, and now it's time to dive deep and to build our community to what it once was. Safe, nurturing, caring, building, and sharing, and growing. I remember growing up in South Minneapolis on 38th in Chicago, and my cousin/brother wanted to play hockey so bad, but my grandma didn't have the money to spend $200 on equipment. We all know hockey equipment is expensive. It still is. And our neighbor who used to go over there for lunch or dinner when we didn't have school, he bought my brother equipment to play hockey. This is a prime example of diving deep because of the neighbor's gift to my family. We're able now to help other kids in the neighborhood for generations to come. We are all in. We are all living for a purpose. We just have to find what that purpose is. Building homes for the community is a really great start. Sherry?
Envision is a mixture of international community and truly affordable housing. I am going to turn it over to Freddie from here.
Envision is more than just a roof over our head. That relationship are more important than the roof. That means we are working hard to create the condition necessary to live a cooperative, and support each other. Shared value guide. I don't need this for this. Shared values. How do we look at shared values? Our interests. What we share with each other. Like say for example, like trust. Trust is not given, it's earned. And sometimes you have to build that trust. It's because some of us has been on the streets so much where we've been rejected so much where we have that lack of trust in the system or anyone that's going to help us. So we build that trust, becoming good neighbors, building relationship, meeting people inside the community, newcomers, old comers. Thank you, Sherry. We let go. We let go of things that we no longer need while we're living in the streets. Once we get into a place such as drug addiction, alcohol, we begin to let those things go, like bad behavior, because we're in a place now that where we feel more safe and more willing to open up to trust other people. We learn from each other. There's a lot of things that we pick up being homeless and that we learn from each other. See, a community within a homeless community. It just need a place to develop that community. And so we learn from each other by how to cook, how to clean, budgeting, how to be able to function while living in a housing unit. Where we need help at, we learn from each other. Social sharing responsibility. I think that's one of the biggest things because if you're my neighbor and you out there working the yard or shoveling the snow, I come out there and help you shovel the yard or shovel the snow or cut grass or plant whatever, help keep the common house clean. That's a shared responsibility. We take take what you call integrity, but when we do that. So, social change from out of one environment and into another environment, that's what you call a change because we learn how to accept that social change and develop ourselves mentally, physically, and spiritually.
Thank you, Freddie. Task Unlimited has over 50 years of building intentional communities in the community. Everything from cooking meals together, planning meals together, paying utilities, taking medications together. People with shared experiences learn from each other and show empathy in a way that is different than what a professional staff can do. Because people live there, they are invested in the good for the whole house and the whole community. There is no cookie cutting guidelines for making an intentional community. Residents need to be there and work together to figure out what works for that group. But Envision has guiding principles that can be found in our operation manual or handbook. The motto that Task brings is a nationwide motto called the Fair Weather Motto. I am going to turn it over to Bill.
Again, really sorry. Thank you so much for your patience. We finally got this working. So you're going to hear a lot about tiny homes, and you'll hear Envision's a tiny home project. I think it's most important to kind of put that aside. Tiny homes are really of secondary importance compared to this thing called intentional community. And it's interesting, I listened to the 8:30 service this morning. Your pastor was talking about how important is belonging and like what type of future is there without belonging. And I think that's what Envision Community is really about. It's about this thing called intentional community. And what was interesting for me is hearing about it from your community's faith perspective, from a scientific perspective. When you look at the research between what is the secret sauce, or what is the thing that probably provides the most healing for people and probably the most foundation for health, it's social connection and social connectedness. So I think this quote is really important to read. Our health depends on more than our own individual biology or even our own individual choices and actions. Our health also depends quite literally on biology, choices, and actions of those around us. A key factor in determining our health is the health of others. And so I think it's important to recognize that Envision Community is built on this belief that social connectedness is the secret sauce for people to obtain their healthiest lives. And we try to build it into everything we do, which is what Freddy and Rochelle and Sherry are talking about. From a scientific standpoint, though, it's the part that we look at as researchers to believe that this is what really makes it work.
Okay, Envision is a diverse group of people will live at Envision. Envision was designed by me and other people that lived experience of homelessness. We wanted to create housing for ourselves that could truly be affordable. We felt that diversity was important for a healthy community. 20% of residents will have experienced chronic homelessness and have complex health issues. 60% of residents will have experienced housing instability, but have straightforward health needs. 20% of residents will have never experienced homelessness and instability. It will be a mixture income group, meaning some residents will have low income while others will live above those levels. But no matter what, every Envision resident has to pay rent. Some people will have programs to help pay for their rent. Most residents will have jobs. Some residents will have a disability. But even though Envision resident will be a diverse group, everyone at Envision will want to live small and live in a community. Envision came together with two community organizations, a doctor and a plan. The Envision leader, Freddy, myself, Janelle, Rome, and Dwayne, they have built a blueprint for affordable housing. Our Envision leaders have developed a plan to help our community, our neighborhood comes together and truly improve affordable housing. Our collaborative organization will continue to support Envision, our future resident, with their expertise. The Envision community staff will be Envision leaders, residents of the community. We are currently structuring our board with people with lived experience, business owners in the community, and people with experience in running and growing a nonprofit organization. Envision leader will be a part of every step our resident will be selected on a case-by-case basis, in which our Envision leaders will help with that process. The next step will be to finish designing, and then build. Another reason we made Envision is that affordable housing is not affordable. Speak about your housing experience, and which I had shared with you guys earlier today. You know, when I first started, when I was homeless, and like I said, it's a challenge. It's hard. You don't know what's coming next, so you just got to go day by day, actually minute by minute. So, that's it. And then I used to live in I get confused with you guys, sorry. Yeah, I used to be in St. Paul, but then I moved here to Minneapolis, and I'm in North Minneapolis now. And the reason why I moved back to Minneapolis in the North Minneapolis area, because everything I do is in Minneapolis. My doctor's office, Envision Community, and then plus the churches that I'm involved with, and the outreach that I do, and the street voices of change, and all these different groups that I'm involved with. So I want to be around my people to help them, and support them. And with that, pass it on to Rochelle.
Thank you, Sherry. Even though it is self-governed, even though Envision will be self-governed, it is professionally managed. We have many questions about who manages Envision Community, who's accountable. The answer is Task Unlimited. Envision will be professionally managed by Task Unlimited. Task Unlimited is the managing organization for Envision Community and will be the owner and operator of the housing, meaning we will professionally manage the property. Staff from Task Unlimited would help the residents of Envision to live cooperatively and support each other. Some people ask about supportive services at Envision. It is important to remember that Envision is a community, not a service program, though it's likely that some Envision residents will benefit from professional supports. Task Unlimited provides a number of housing, mental health, and employment services which will directly be available for the residents if they need or want them. Examples include case management, housing stabilization, job placement, retention services, and supported employment. Residents of Envision may also come to Envision with existing providers or wish to choose another company provider they are more comfortable with. We at Task have a number of partnerships with other providers in the community and will work to facilitate referrals to other providers as well. One support which will be available for all Envision residents is a community coordinator. Drawing upon 50 years of facilitating intentional community in the mental health field, we know that community sometimes needs a guiding hand to grow. A community coordinator will be available to foster relationships, facilitate conflict, and provide support for the residents as needed. Now I'm going to pass it over to Sherry.
Envision costs 60% less of developed per person, and then comparable permanent supportive housing. Envision Community is designed to be truly affordable. Our housing system is not fair because people with low income cannot find a place to live at reasonable price. We design Envision so that people of all finances, means, have an equal opportunity to live in a dignified place. Rochelle.
Next, we're going to show a 1-minute video tour of our show unit. Please remember this unit was designed and built before the pandemic. Because of COVID safety recommendations, we have changed our design from one you will see in the video to promote social distancing by removing the common hallway and putting a bathroom with a shower, sink, and toilet in every unit.
Here you see outside of the city of Minneapolis. This is on top of behind Elam Church. This is a unit. As you enter in, that's the bathroom there. That's the living quarters right there, which me, Sherry, Janelle Rome designed. I love the windows. You have to come and take a tour. We will welcome you with open arms. This has got a miniature-sized refrigerator. On top of the refrigerator, it's a microwave. This is where they can storage space to store your dishes, silverware, maybe food. And this the do list. I call it the do list board. Yeah, you husbands know what I'm talking about. So this is Rachel's favorite chair. It's a little small box she like to sit in front of and crop her feet up on. And this bathroom, like Rochelle said in previous, that this was supposed to have been a shared bathroom, but since the COVID-19, every unit would have their own bathroom and shower. And this is the outside. I mean, you really have to come and see it for yourself and take a walk through. I mean, you really guys would really, really love it.
Awesome job, Freddy. Major changes. Here's our proposal. We would like for our first community to include 24 to 38 people living cooperatively in micro homes with a common house. This will be located in Minneapolis, and we are actively applying for exclusive development rights on 2100 Penn Avenue North. We are looking for ideas of designing the outside from our collaborative partners and our community members like yourself. Is this type of housing allowed in Minneapolis is the question that we're always asked. Yes, our group spent over a year creating a new intentional community cluster development zoning ordinance with the city of Minneapolis to allow housing like Envision Community. The city council unanimously passed the zoning ordinance in November 2019 to allow this housing. Sherry?
You know, we are also inviting the neighborhood into our larger vision. We intend to build Envision Community all over Minneapolis and the state. Roger Hayes is just where we want to start. You will help spark a movement to create housing equity all around Minneapolis. Our neighborhood will become a beacon for our entire community. And together, we will show that Wilbur Hayes neighborhood is a super inclusion neighborhood. The boundaries are roughly around Olson Memorial Highway on the south, Penn Avenue on the east, Broadway Avenue on the northeast, and Theodore Worth Park on the west.
The next part is kind of hard to discuss. I want to envision you to remember so many people welcome us and support us. Thank you. Most people have a very reasonable question. We appreciate their feedback. But there was a few people that expressed the usual, not in my backyard, objecting to the Envision that we expected. There was concern that Envision would be a free-for-all, bring crimes, comparing us to the encampment property and be a rush job. And I'd like to say more about that because we all have some type of fault, and God don't look at us at our fault. God sees something in all of us that is unique about us. He molded us in a way that He wants us to be. We face struggles, and some of us stuck in that comfort zone. And we can't be successful if we stay in that comfort zone. We have to come out of that comfort zone in order for us to be successful. Rather how people look at us or reject us, but we know that in Envision, we're working to keep the crimes out of our neighborhood. We're working to keep the drug dealers off our block. See something, say something. Don't let it continue on growing. And the reason I say continue on growing is the fact is, if we don't say nothing, it'll grow out of hand and out of control. So thank you.
Some people wondered how affordable housing impacts a neighborhood. Of many studies conducted nationwide, looking at whether supportive housing lowers property values or increases the crime rate, no such link has been clearly identified. In fact, Edward Gitz, in the study called There Goes the Neighborhood, looked at affordable housing here in Minneapolis and found that the property values actually increased near affordable housing development by nonprofit organizations in Minneapolis, and the crime events decreased around that affordable housing. Sherry?
This is probably the toughest part for us to discuss. Please don't take this personal. But we have to deal with stereotype every day. We are not going to sugarcoat it. While most people gave us reasonable feedback, and some held the stereotype that people experience homelessness, are bums, addicts, and criminals. Well, while it is true that some people experience housing instability, struggling with abuse and substance abuse, that does not make it okay to label us an addict. Some people may have made mistakes and commit crimes, but we are not all criminals. We should not label people that way. That is not who we are. When people held these stereotypes, they often thought Envision residents needs constant supervision or would not contribute meaningfully to the community or economy. Envision residents are people like you and me who function on their own. If someone needs constant supervision, they are not a good fit for Envision. Most of us will have jobs. Everyone will contribute to the community. These stereotypes are not who we are. We want to be good neighbors and valuable members of this community. We can accomplish a lot. People with lived experience of homelessness created Envision. We want to be good neighbors and valued members of this community. I'll pass it to Bill.
Another misperception that Envision faces is that people feel Envision is experimental. So that we're going to go into a neighborhood with something that's just never been done before. Well, that's untrue. You know, there's really two important parts to Envision that you've heard about. One is intentional communities. So intentional communities, TAS Unlimited has been owning and operating intentional communities for over 50 years. And in fact, at some of their 21 lodges that they have, which are intentional communities, they have some members that the person who's been in the house for the shortest amount of time is 20 years. Now think of that level of stability. That's not experimental. The other part is tiny homes. I mean, I think we all see tiny homes in the news, and I think our world is becoming more comfortable with it. But in some ways, it is new for our community. Like, we had to create a brand new zoning ordinance in order for this to work, because it is, in some ways, new for our system. But it is not experimental. They're all over the country, and they're well proven. So we hope that you won't share this view that Envision Community is some experiment that we're trying on our community. It's certainly not. It just combines two successful elements to make something that's truly connected and truly affordable.
Some people were concerned that Envision is a poor quality. I want to say one more thing about the quality. Some thought that we should not live in a small home like our show unit, especially since this did not look like a tiny home you will see on the HGTV. Our house is dignified. Our house is dignified, designed for, how you say the word? Dignified, but it is simply than what some people may be used to. But many people like me with living experience of homelessness feel affordable and a loving community are the most important aspect of a home. We live in an expensive place. We have to worry about making the rent. That worry is huge. We would much rather live in a small place, simple place like Envision than an expensive place with constantly worrying about getting homeless again. Envision is dignified because it lifts the burden and worries that keep us down. Even though Envision is simple, it's also a high quality living. I'm going to turn it back over to Rochelle.
Thank you, Freddy. So we have started to begin our capital fundraising by building and operating Envision. The city has awarded us $1.2 million to secure development rights, purchase land, and to build. We made an attempt at one piece of land and realized we needed more additional political support to acquire land, and now we have it. Your help has helped us in this process. Thank you so much. Envision came together to build affordable housing. Envision started with its first stop at the city of Minneapolis, or the City Hall in Minneapolis to change the zoning laws for intentional communities. The Envision leaders are founders, history makers, community organizers, builders, and trainers. We have learned that it takes people from all walks of life to change a system that was built for only one race to flourish. As we build Envision communities and train our leaders to develop skills to teach as we grow so that ones following behind us have somewhere to start. We want Envision to be a housing model that can be learned all over the city, state, and country. By helping our current state of homelessness to reflect that we have need and how to come together in this time of need, by bringing the homeless community together with love, support, respect, and collaborative help from our partners is what it takes. It truly takes a village. We are that village. This is the end of the presentation. We want to thank you for giving us the opportunity to share Envision Community with you. If you have any questions or discussions, please ask them now. Thank you.
I just want to say, as Phil mentioned when he was introducing these four wonderful leaders, their work is just beginning at the Envision community. And I just want to revisit one of the reasons that we thought this organization should receive an extraordinary time gift is because they are extraordinary. And I believe that you got to hear a bit of that. So with that said, I just want to say three other little things. This project is addressing the root causes of health disparities. The leadership have the experience to know what it is to create a dignifying space. The project is poised to use the gift for the land acquisition that was referenced, and they have said to us they want to be in relationship with us. They want us to come alongside them and be led by them. So we're going to let them tell us how it is that we can do that. But for now, whether you are online or here in the room, if you have any questions, we'd be happy to take them now. We will start with Kathleen Campbell.
Well, this is wonderful. Could you tell us a little bit about the tiny home you showed, but could you tell us a little bit about your idea for a larger gathering place for the people in the community? I think you mentioned that at the beginning. The common house, yes.
Okay, the common house is a place where a gathering. You gotta look. Let's look at it this way: when homeless people are out in the streets and they go to places to eat, and they want to sit down with people they know, people they can familiar with, such as the branch. Like Sherry, she served at the Central Lutheran Church. If you can and they have bathrooms there, but they're having a full plumbing where they can take showers and stuff like that. So we add that to that. So if the common house is a place where we can gather, share meals, meet with caseworkers, meet with people that we may need help with. We also want to invite the neighbors in that common house. We also want to invite the city councilor, city authority, the police officer to come by and sit in and get the noise. That's what you do when you're in a community. I live in a community now. Well, I love my community because we know each other by names. That community kind of share that same common house with each other. The neighbors bring food over. And I mean, it's just awesome. And so just sitting around, creating meals, I mean, it's something special there.
Yeah, and it's kind of like you remember growing up and you would go to your neighbor's house and ask to borrow a couple of sugar. We'll have a cup of sugar. Come borrow some.
I have a question as to how Envision will differ from some of the other clusters of tiny homes that I understand have been built, recently. And I also wanted to make the comment, I looked at your website already, and it really is good. There's a link on the weekly Westminster email to your website, which I would encourage people to take a look at. But just my question is, how will the Envision community differ from cluster homes that have already been built with tiny homes?
I think it's much, would say, connection. Because sometimes we put people in places and it's like we just put them there. And we don't connect them with anything, such as researches, how to get unemployment, how to get jobs, how to go to get their medical appointment, how to, there's a lot of stuff that we don't want to leave them out, like putting a person out, like you build a house on an island, they're alone. Eventually, they'll float right back out in the system again because of isolation, loneliness, shutdown. Ours is meant to connect with people who have these issues that we can address with our experience and how to connect with those people and give them a chance to come out of that shell and learn to trust. And just by being neighborly, hey, how you doing today? Or knock on, see somebody in a long time, do a welfare check. Knock on the door, say, hey, you okay in there? Would you like to come out and have some coffee? I mean, just connect with each other. So most times it's got to be different. It's way different because there's no connection with no one. They just put you in the house and just move on and hoping that you survive on your own.
Okay, I just want to add just a little bit more to that. And also because we had experienced homelessness, and when you experience homelessness, you know what people need. You know how to reach out to them. They know how to reach out to us. And then when you feel comfortable, you open up to people. And then, and most important, we want to be good neighbors. And being good neighbors and being out in the community, like our common house, like I said, we're going to be barbecue maybe once a month or something. And so everybody get to know everybody and get people involved. You know, if they want to do things around the Envision, like get them involved, like maybe they want to rake the yard, maybe they want to do stuff like that. Keeping people connected and involved, they want to see a nice neighborhood. Thank you.
And once it's up and running, you guys can come and visit us, and Sherry would barbecue for you guys.
My name's Nancy Etzweiler, and thank you so much. This is absolutely fascinating. My question is, I mean, the need is so terrifyingly great. How do people get connected with Envision, considered, for this, and, kind of what's the intake process? Because there's probably 100 people for every slot, and how do people get connected and evaluated so it's going to be a fit that really works well?
Okay, that's a good question. And you say in homelessness, we hear about word of mouth. That's one of the things. Flyers, getting out, introducing ourselves to the community. A lot of times when people learn from each other, when people are homeless, is where to go get shoe voucher, where to go get meals at, where to get connected to. You can come from out of another state and visit here and ask a person that's never experienced homelessness, have a house with direction how to get somewhere, they couldn't tell you. But when you meet with a homeless person, he can tell you ins and outs and shortcuts and everything else. By word of mouth, connecting with people, connecting with churches, connecting with organization that knows that they're on the same team, pretty much. And again, that's where the word is being spread out among them. And then they connect. It's like connecting the dots.
And also people that's in the shelters, that's where we also looking out for. And then on the website.
And we have 22 collaborative relationships from St. Cloud to Rochester, Minneapolis, St. Paul. So we want the right people that want to live in this intentional community and flourish to be a part of this. But we want to make sure that we spread it out all over, online, via paper, word of mouth, so everyone that wants to live in this community can help grow this one and help build others to come.
So got a quick question, and that is, when can we actually start seeing this, or is it up already? Is something started? What's kind of next on the horizon?
Come with me now. Let's go see it. We do have a show unit built over at Elam Church in Northeast Minneapolis. So whenever you guys want to come take a tour, we are available. And please come, please come, please come.
I'm actually just going to give a testimonial. We did that over the summer, and it was so wonderful. So yeah, it's a genuine offer. I am curious about, so thinking about people in this room and then thinking about the unique leadership roles that you all play, what are some examples of things that those of us who wouldn't be part of the leadership team can do to free up the time of the leadership team so that you all can do the things that only you can do, that you all are best positioned to do?
Oh my goodness. Let me put down my list, starting from 10, working our way down. No, but right now, we just need help with, bringing the community together of where we want to build the land, and then also helping us plan our events. Like, we want to do a community barbecue. We want to meet the business owners. We want to meet with the community so they can meet with the Envision leaders so they can know who will be building and living in their community. So yes, we want you guys to help us and bring your expertise, and let's brainstorm and see what we can do together. because we're right now connecting, you know, as much as we can, but the more that they see us, the more that we're out, and the more that we do outreach would be best for us, for you. And then once we build, there'll be so much more work. Get over here.
Yeah, and one of the things that Sherry mentioned earlier is that Street Voices has been involved with this from the beginning. Sherry and I sit at the steering committee table at Street Voices together. And so it will be, I'm sorry, at Align Minneapolis together. So it will be through Align Minneapolis that Rochelle will be calling all of the congregations to align to help with what is needed in the ways that Joe described.
So I have a question off the live stream, and then there's one more in the audience. What are the next steps in development of the Envision community, and how can we be a part of your continued progress?
Awesome, 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 awesome. I love that you guys want to help us in so many ways. This is so beautiful. Oh my goodness. I could just hug all of you guys. So we are, now, what was the last question? Oh, development steps. Yep. Say it again.
Your dear friend Gretchen wants to know specifically how can we help at 2100 North, the community that's coming online.
Yes. So what we're doing now is we just submitted the application for exclusive development rights for the city of Minneapolis. So the city of Minneapolis is giving us a 45-day period where the community can come together to give information to the city regarding they approve of our project. So what we need is for you guys to help us present to the city, we need this community, we need this community, we need Envision to be built on 2100 Penn Avenue so we can help our community and grow. So we're going to be doing a few presentations for the neighborhood organizations that are in that area. So those of you that want to be with us and be a part of that presentation, I would love for you guys to come with us. Whether it's online or in person, I can give you more information, and my email will be posted so you guys can reach out to me. Yes.
They're asking about milestones, and Rochelle said, you know, our next big milestone is land acquisition at 2100 Penn Avenue. So the application's in, now there's a 45-day community review process. And then after that, it'll go through a series of votes. We're not certain exactly what committees it has to go through at the city, but it'll certainly end up at the city council to be voted for. And so I think as a congregation, there are also some, your network could be very helpful. For example, if there's a way to ask for who lives in Willard Hayes, that is a very specific ask, because what we're trying to gather is what's called a good neighbors group. It's a group of neighbors who are willing from that neighborhood where we intend to locate Envision to try to say, hey, I'm a neighbor here, and I welcome them into our neighborhood. That is very powerful. Another one is like political action, meaning if you really support Envision, you could write the city council and say, we know this is coming down the road, and I really support it. So those are our milestone. That's our next big milestone. Then, of course, after that, we have things like, you know, raising enough capital money to pay for it and build it. We'll be designing the units. Our architects are working on that. And then there's also some although we have a zoning ordinance, it still has to go through the permitting process. So you still, even though we fit into a zoning ordinance, we still have to receive all those approvals. So those are things that I don't know if you necessarily can work on your end, but know that it's going on in the background. That's real work that has to happen. And then finally, it's what Rochelle talked about, where there's ongoing connection to the community. I mean, that's what it's all about, right? And so we'll need help with that throughout. So we really appreciate your willingness and your spirit to want to help. It means so much to us.
And I just want to add some quick, so like if you know anybody that lives in that area, in that neighborhood, it's because I know there's some churches out there, maybe you might have somebody that goes to the church out there, you might want to reach out to them and, you know, and ask them if they can support us.
I have a question about homeless families, and if you talk specifically about children, and are you going to have tiny houses that have a little more space if you have a family that you're bringing into this situation?
Currently, no. But do we plan on doing something with family and children's once we have the single units up? Absolutely.
To be clear, this first version of Envision is for adults only. And so no families. And the reason why is it's hard enough to get this started. Having children adds this really big layer of responsibility and complexity. And I think if that was our first version of Envision, it might not get off the ground. So, but we welcome it in the future.
Any other questions that we have? Burning questions? Well, thank you all very much. Thank you especially to everybody here. Let's give them a round of applause. They did a great job. We really appreciate your efforts to help build intentional communities. Next week, we invite you all to join us for another social justice forum focused on childhood hunger. We will be inviting Teresa McCormick, Director of Programs and Healthcare Partnerships for Second Harvest Heartland. We've had long-standing partnerships with them, and we look forward to seeing you then. Thank you all very much.
Thank you for having us.